Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?
Good evening and welcome to Absolute Bedlam podcast. Feeling a little bit out of practice. It's been 2 weeks and I've had a bit of a break and back at it, trying to keep the energy up. You know how we do it over at ABP. And I've got a pretty cool guest who MC Lars hooked me up with and said, Ben, I need to call in a favour. Can you check your schedule? Because currently I'm booked until March next year. So I thought,
Wow.
Go on then,
Very cool.
MC. I'll sort you out. So yeah, here we go. So we got Sean, aka Cowboy Coda.
Yes, sir.
So how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited. I've been looking at the podcast, man. You've got some great content out there. I was just listening to the MC Lars podcast that you guys did back 9 months or so ago. Fantastic stuff, man. But I love what you're doing, and I really appreciate you having me on. It's great to be here.
So good. MC Lars seems like a constant tree of network.
Yeah, he's amazing. He definitely has his pulse on everything. I thought it was cool kind of how like I got to watch some of the Brendan podcasts too from Wheatus, and how MC Lars and him are kind of connected too. He is like he's got connections everywhere, and it's cool that he can collaborate with so many different people.
Yeah. When Wheatus followed me on Twitter, that was the moment where I was like, I need to put this down for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
that's it, basically. That's my life complete. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Right, so let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
So Cowboy Coda, how was high school for you?
High school for me was, I certainly had my teenage angst years going through there, but musically, I was in a cover band for most of high school. I loved it. It was like the coolest thing. We did a lot of like old school covers of the Cult, some U2, some Rush, I loved Geddy Lee. But yeah, high school for me was pretty cool in that sense, at least musically. I grew up in El Paso, so it was like it was kind of a strange, like edge of the earth type of experience because you're so isolated out there. But everyone that I interacted with out there, I have good memories of, so that's always good.
Can you disclose the naughtiest thing that you did at high school? The biggest trouble you got into?
Oh my gosh. This is kind of funny. Me, I don't know if I'll get busted for this. Hopefully the statute of limitations is gone on this.
Love it.
We went into the boys' bathroom one time, and we're smoking in there, and we're like, hey man, what if we put like a little wick on the toilet seat? And we were just playing around, and it kind of like took off, and it like ignited, and we're like, oh my gosh. Like when we ran out and hit the fire alarm and got to see all the chaos evolve, and we're just like sitting around like, man, how did that happen? I don't know. Geez.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those smoking in the boys' room kind of stories.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. So from high school, you obviously got into the workforce.
Yes.
Something that's a through thread of your life and your character on stage is working in IT.
Right.
So when did you start working in IT, and when did you decide that it was going to be your career path?
Yeah, so I started doing that. I've always kind of been involved with it. Even when I was like in elementary school, I was always tinkering with computers, always like kind of coding, and I always like to hack things, But professionally, I didn't get into it till after university. I went for my graduate degree in information systems, and that's when my career really took off, because I got into consulting. I went into a bunch of startups in Austin, Texas, and then I went independent. So I'm an independent consultant now, and I just love it. It's great to be creative. What I love about it is like it's technically challenging, so there's this intellectual element to it, but there's always an artistic component to coding where you have to be really creative to solve some of the really hard problems that are out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. That obviously segues nicely into your single, Code
Yeah.
Rage. Just
Yeah,
listen to it now.
absolutely.
It's
All
a
right.
bit of a short, concise little flavour of a cowboy coder. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a catchy little number. And I've just
Yeah,
checked out,
thank
as
you.
you've seen on your Twitter DMs, I've checked out that
Uh-huh.
new one that you just dropped.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Was it
absolutely.
Cowboy Coding? Is that what it's called?
Cowboy coding. Yeah, yeah. So that's all about the philosophy of cowboy coding, which is it there's a lot of like weird connotations about it in the IT world, right?
Mm,
So a lot of people might say that cowboy coders are come in and they're reckless and they just do, they screw up stuff or,
mm,
it's basically code fast and break stuff, right? Like, which surprisingly sometimes can be valuable.
yeah,
But the way I view it is more like you have creative autonomy uh, when you're cowboy coding because and the agile methodology, which is something that's
mm,
really kind of taken on
yeah,
a lot in the IT world, is kind of embracing that idea of like empower the coders to drive the value and the innovation of a
yeah,
system. And when you do that, like some remarkable things can happen. And
yeah.
so like that's what I kind of wanted to encapsulate there. I
Mm,
do kind of go out on the extreme edges of like, yeah, I'm just gonna like throw it in production, not test it, and
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
figure it out.
yeah, yeah,
Because that's the funny side of it. And so I wanted to have like some flavors in there that were kind of like
yeah,
poking fun of it. But really
yeah,
philosophically, I think it's a great idea to like empower coders to create value and innovation from that angle because previously in the traditional world it was always the other way around. Here's the requirements, make it happen, or here's the design,
mm,
implement this. And it's like, what? Like a lot
yeah,
of times when that happens, when you throw it, that's the old waterfall approach that they would talk about. You throw it over the
yeah, yeah,
wall, give it to the engineers, and the engineers are like, this doesn't make any sense. And they're like,
yeah,
just look, you go to the spec, right? And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why you
yeah,
get a lot of systems that are clunky and don't make any sense.
yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned UAT in the Cowboy Coding song, and I
Yeah.
was like, yes, I know what that is.
Yeah. There you go.
That's interesting. But yeah, in the song Code Rage,
Yes.
who wrote and played the instruments for the song?
Oh, that's a great question. So I came up with the chord progression, the melodies, and yeah, the chord progression, melodies, lyrics. That was all me. Um, Richard, who was also the producer on there, he kind of did a lot of the sound mixing for us. But yeah, I'm so glad you caught that because he did the live bass and drums on
Yeah,
there, and it sounds so cool, right?
the
Like you
bass
don't
is
usually hear
so
that
clean.
anymore. It's yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
so
was like, man,
clanging.
that's cool. That's exactly what I wanted in there.
Yeah, yeah,
And so yeah, he did a great job with the bass and drums on that song, and yeah, I feel like I have my own band, you know.
nice, nice.
But
Love it.
yeah, yeah, I'm glad you noticed that. Not many people are that astute to know, like, hey, wait a
Mm,
minute, there's something going on here with this composition.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's all live drums and all live bass.
yeah.
So it's like really cool that was mixed in there.
I'm a bit biased, but I'm a sucker for a good bass tone because I've been
Yeah,
playing on and
yeah,
off for like 12 years. So
yeah,
yeah, man.
absolutely.
So, how did you meet MC Lars? Was it through the Lit Hop Academy, or was it through a mutual friend, or sort of how did that come
Yeah,
around, and how's that going now?
yeah, that's a great question. My girlfriend went to college with him out in Stanford, out in the Bay
Hmm,
Area, and we've always like kept in touch. Every time he would come into Austin, he'd sleep on my girlfriend's couch, or he would be at a show or after the show, and we would just
yeah,
always go hang out. It was always so cool to like get to get to hang out with him. He's such a smart guy, and he's
Mm.
witty, and he's fun. He's got a great vibe about him. But yeah, that's pretty much how that connection happened. And
Yeah.
what happened with like how did I get into musical collaboration was he came, it was February of 2020. So he came down to Empire Control in Austin, Texas, a great venue, downtown Austin. I went there. We were talking to him before the show, and I was just like, man, it'd be great if we could do like some musical collaboration. I kind of want to get back into it. And then, of course, we all know what happened
Yeah.
after that. Like COVID came and like turned everyone's world upside down. And that kind of was actually a good catalyst
Mm.
for me to get like more engaged with him. And then and he was spinning up Lit Hop Academy at the time. He's like, hey, why don't you come in and like be one of my students in Lit Hop,
Yeah.
and we can kind of work the collaboration through that route. And that worked out great because you know, I always struggled with originals. Like when I was in my cover band, it was like it was cool because you're like doing stuff that's tried and true and people already know it. But I tried back in high school to write originals and it was so challenging. I don't know if it was like a mental block or whatever. But then when I hooked up with Lars, it just kind of came naturally. And he's such a great like teacher and mentor. Like I never really got much into hip hop until I started collaborating with Lars, and I
Yeah.
started to see the value of rhythm and lyrics and how those can become foundational for any song.
Yeah.
And he kind of like steered me down that path, and it was like the light bulb moment of like, oh yeah, the rhythm and the lyrics, if those two are in sync, like the whole song can like just evolve from around there. I always did it the opposite way. I came from here's my melody, I want some lyrics to fit, and it's really challenging to do it that way.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
interesting. I've always
yeah,
been very good at coming up with a riff, but it's
yeah,
then up to the people around me in my band. I couldn't be solo. I don't have the brain for it. It's up to them
right,
to provide me with the glue, and then we can
right.
bridge the riffs together.
Bridge it together. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got a ton of random riffs on bass, but
yeah,
I need someone to come around and put
right.
it all together,
I
and
bet
then I can
I
release it.
bet Lars,
Yeah,
if you ever hook up with Lars on a
yeah,
Lit
yeah,
Hop or something, because he's amazing at like he can
yeah.
see where people's strengths are, and he can
Mm,
like tap into that. And that was really cool on Lit Hop. There were a lot of songs where I would come up with like some of the foundational pieces, like the chord progression and some of the basic beats. And I would kind of like, here's my demo, and then if he had time, which he most of the time he did, he would turn around and give me a demo that he would bring to the table, and it would give me such a new perspective on a lot of the songs. I was like, wow, like that's really it's gone in a direction where I was like, I couldn't believe like the rough demo I would give him, and then he would elevate it to the next level, and then
yeah.
I'd come back and elevate again. And so I, to me, like that was the coolest thing about the musical collaboration because it was like he
Mm,
would bring all of his wisdom and insight from his years in the music industry, and he could instantly take a super rough demo and make it something I'm like, man, we could press that right now. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like he's really great that way.
Yeah. So speaking of Mr. Lars, what
Yes, sir.
involvement did you have within the Blockchain Planet album project?
Yeah, yeah. So I did produce that with him as well. I I helped out on a couple of the songs on there, and I did help with. I was intricately involved with the blockchain, and so a lot of the technical stuff, like I would
Yeah,
help him with that. And then there's a song actually on the album called ADA AMA,
yeah,
which is all about Charles Hoskinson and the AMAs that he does on YouTube.
yeah,
And that I was intricately involved with that song, and I play guitar on that song, and I do the vocals, background vocals on that song.
yeah, yeah,
So, but that was a really I was so excited when he told me that he was going to
yeah,
do a blockchain based album. I was like, that's so cool, and I felt really privileged to be involved in it.
Mm.
And so yeah, that was another piece of the puzzle,
Yeah.
where we kind of got engaged
Mm.
on a musical journey together.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then once I saw that, I was like, I could go forward and do my own album. And so
Mm.
he kind of inspired me in that way.
Yeah, Blockchain Planet was the first album that I've received for free
Oh
as
wow.
part of podcast research.
Oh
And I endlessly thanked him for that because there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, we've got a new single coming out, but you'll hear it when it comes out as
yeah.
opposed to when the interview is.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, I can't really, like, I need to talk about the themes and stuff,
Yeah,
for me to get a proper
absolutely.
interview out of you. But
Yeah, and to bring the insight like you just did with Code Rage, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
you can pick up musical composition notes that are
yeah.
interesting to talk about. Yeah. It's very cool.
Favorite song on Blockchain Planet?
Yeah. It probably is Blockchain Planet, even though
Yeah,
88 AMA is dear to my heart.
of
I
course.
like
Yeah.
Blockchain Planet because I don't know, it's just like this pounding song. I got to do that live with him on stage as well, and
Hmm,
that was a
nice.
really cool song to do together.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's probably what I would pick.
I think Mendocino's Burning was quite a nice
Uh,
little
that's that's a good one too.
yeah, that's cool. I like that. And the bit towards the
Yeah,
end where they're like, is this even about blockchain? Or about,
yeah,
is this just real life where everyone's got the money and we haven't got the money sort
yeah,
of thing? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that. So yeah, shout out to MC Lars. Any signs of a US/UK tour?
I hope I can come back. I was just there with him back in May of this year, uh, and that was so much fun. I got to do my musical debut in Glasgow
Hmm,
at King Tut's Wawa.
okay.
Great venue, and yeah, if I could get the chance to go back, I absolutely will do that. And it would be fun to do it with Lars if I can. And I think I know he's got some stuff coming out next year,
Yeah.
and I think he's gonna slate some UK dates. So that would be really cool.
Love that. It's got to keep going. Fantastic.
Yeah.
R Drive. I've
Yes.
recently seen that you've been tweeting about it and you've been retweeting stuff. So
Yeah.
what's your current involvement with R Drive?
Yeah. That's a great question. So as you may or may not know, MC Lars is also creative director
Mm,
for R Drive. And so what we've been doing is we've been doing a lot of how-to videos, and they're
mm,
very technical. And so one of the things that we're doing is it's called the command line interface, and it helps people to kind of like if you wanted to automate some things to integrate with R Drive. And there's also features that are not currently available on the web that are available through the CLI. So
mm.
such as like, putting metadata on your content and stuff.
Yeah,
And and R Drive and Arweave they're amazing tools. So they're decentralized storage.
yeah,
So and you can have public and private versions of that. So that's we're kind of like helping to educate it in a fun way. It's kind of edutainment, if you will. Like we're trying to make some videos that are very entertaining that hopefully people will get because it's very dry material, right? When you're trying to tell people like, here's
yeah,
how you can put some metadata on your files on the
yeah,
blockchain.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's good stuff.
Nice. Love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're about to hit a 10-minute limit on the Zoom, so I'll send you another email
Okay.
shortly.
Okay.
I probably
Sure.
should have
Sure.
mentioned that pre-recording, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now's a good time probably to do some ads. So we've got
Yeah.
Wild Hair. I don't know if we can see that, but it's
Oh, yeah.
beard nourishing balm. I use it myself. I won't sponsor people that I don't use myself. And we've also got some beard oil.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that's Joanna and Rose. So if you go over to www.wildhairuk.co.uk and use the code BedlamUK, you'll get 15% off your order, and you'll get some really nice beard oil and beard balm in return. So shout out to Ollie at Wild Hair, getting him on next month. So have a proper chat with him about all that sort of stuff and not
Ah, very
hijack
cool.
people like Cowboy Coder's episode. And yeah,
That's cool.
fantastic. Um, So I'm conscious of time. I think we're about to hit the 10-minute limit. So this is going
Okay,
to be a question that will be a bit time gated, and it's also a question that can probably
sure.
just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
So, Sean, what
Yes, sir.
keeps you going as a musical person? What makes you want to keep writing the stuff that you write? And what is your sort of glass ceiling? What is your ideal scenario?
Right. Wow. Yeah, you're right. We could probably talk forever about that. I think what motivates me and inspires me is just I'm doing things that I never thought I was capable of doing.
Mm,
And so I feel like I'm like kind of reinventing myself, right?
mm,
Kind of a later stage in life. And it's like so much fun to like tap back into something I've always been drawn towards. And I feel like there's several albums inside of me that I want to kind
mm,
of get out. And so but I do think it's like it's that personal, like evolutionary journey of self-discovery, if you will, where it's just like I can do this. There are things that I can do that can like elevate my musical abilities from where I think they are to the next level. And so like
yeah,
I think that's and I'm starting to get more and more into like music theory and getting back to like trying to learn more on guitar. I was a bass player in high
yeah,
school and I loved it. But I also loved like the guitar and chord progressions and solos. Solos are like challenging for me, but I want to like, that's kind of like a personal challenge for me. Like I want to be able to do some riffs and stuff
mm,
that are like are just like amazing and like will like make people just elevate themselves.
yeah,
And I also think that music itself, what I love about music is it's like this powerful art form that can change your state of being in a matter
mm,
of minutes,
yeah,
and it's a challenging art form too because you only have a couple of minutes
yeah,
to basically put that message out there and get people into your song, right?
mm,
And so I love that aspect of it, and I think it's just the coolest thing to see that you can do something that you've always had a love for, but never thought it was possible to like
yeah,
get put actual original music out there that has an audience. And I think Lars has been so inspirational with that too. He's like, there's an audience out there somewhere,
mm,
right? For almost anything you can think of. And we live on this amazing planet where there's billions of people. Like, you're going to tap into something that connects with an audience at some level. And I think that's also like the challenges that I'm also like, how do you find that audience? How do you connect with them? What's the best way to get that connection? Is it online media? Is it touring? Is it, is it going to festivals and engaging with the fans that way? All of those things I just find like fascinating, and I want to
yeah,
explore them as much as I can.
yeah. I love that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's really cool to see how you've put IT and music together. It's cool to see
Yeah,
that you've
thanks.
managed to like marry these two things that you're clearly passionate about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
thanks.
No worries. It's all good. Right, I'm going to
Yeah.
send you a new email with a new
Okay.
link. It
Okay,
hasn't
cool.
quite come up 10 minutes yet, but I'm cautious that at any moment we'll get into
It,
chatting and it will come up.
and then it'll cut us. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm not paying Zoom. I'm not doing it. Down with
I
corporations.
hear
Our
you. I
drive
hear
needs to
you.
make Zoom.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. Right, I'll send you a new email. Guys, we're just going
Okay.
to go to a quick ad break. So we'll speak to you shortly.
Okay. Sounds good.
Absolute bedlam.
Wild Hair UK. Wild Hair are based in Hampshire and they make amazing beard oil and beard balm care products for all of your masculine needs. So we've got Rose, which is patchouli, bergamot, and sweet orange flavour. So we've got quite a lot going on here. Really nice, smells really good, and you can tell that this is made by a chef. So Chef Ollie Moore has been in the business of catering for 18 years, and he's taken his love of the kitchen and he's put it into these products. We've also got Joanna, which is amber, leather, orange, and raspberry profile. Smells incredible. Everyone I've sent, samples to, and everyone that's experienced this in person has gone, bloody hell, that's really nice. It's not just generic stuff from the shops. CPSR certified, and it's also known as confidence in a box. So I use this myself. It smells really good. Couldn't be happier with the results. So I've hooked you up. Go to wildhairuk.co.uk and use code BEDLAMUK at checkout for 15% off the products.
Absolute bedlam.
And we're back. So thanks
All
for
right.
bearing with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big question. Big
Yeah.
question.
All right.
Do you think the future of music is collaborations, or do you think that your own music should hold up by itself? So an example I can give you is The Prodigy from the UK. They were very, very adamant on not doing too many collaborations because it might dilute their fan base and people might start going off into these catacombs of other artists. Whereas some people, like MC Lars, like various other people, Weird Al Yankovic, people like that, they've prided themselves on collaboration. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on that.
Right. Yeah, that is a very deep question because I totally get the value in like this is what we represent. And if you're a band and you're in that, I think it's good for you to stay true to that. But for me personally, I love the musical collaboration aspects of it because what I find as a young budding artist, if you will, like the people that you can bring in to collaborate with you are going to elevate you and make you a better musician just by interacting with people who have been there and have gone to that level that you want to reach, right? So I think for anyone starting out, it's almost like you want to surround yourself with the best possible mentors that you can find, and they can take you to places you thought you could never go before. And so for me, that's what I think is the power of musical collaboration is that you're able to leverage the wisdom and insight of people who have gone before you. And I think that's a powerful, powerful thing to tap into.
Yeah.
But I can see like if you're in a band though, and you're like, we are a whatever, a punk band or whatever, and we're going to like stay true to our art form and how we produce music. I could see how that might be a road that would build an audience that would be more loyal or maybe more, but it would be very concentrated. And I think it would be limiting in some ways, but powerful in others in the sense that if you can concentrate an audience to like just focus on the music that you bring to the table and you can tap into that, I could see why people might be drawn towards it. But for me personally, I like the experience itself is more rewarding to me than to, box myself in and say in fact, if you look at like if you look at the album, it's all the genres are kind of all over the place. So I love to explore different musical expressions. And I think if you can collaborate with others who are in a different genre, that's like to me that's powerful stuff,
Yeah. I think one of my favorite Henry Rollins clips on the internet is he did something called the Henry Rollins Show.
Oh yeah.
And he has a bit of a rant about Iggy Pop selling out by doing car insurance adverts.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, if you know what Iggy Pop's been through, the amount of shitty shows he's played, and the fact that like sometimes they don't even have a toilet, so they have to like pee on one of the wheels of their vans before they go play a show. Like, pay this guy triple what Aviva paid them or whatever, car insurance company or whatever like that. He's like, absolutely, like, there's no such thing as selling out as long as you own it and you're not trying to like shill your way through life. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I absolutely love Henry Rollins. He's one of my absolute goals for this. If I could get him on, that would be absolutely fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great if you could get him. Because he's a definitely a force to be reckoned with in the music world. And I love his story too, like his story about how he was working at a record shop, and it was like he had his big break kind of come up, and he was like, I just don't want to fall into the quiet desperation of America or whatever,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that. And I think that happens to a lot of people. You go through life, and if you're not willing to take the chance and take the risk and just see
Yeah,
what happens, you're going
yeah,
to end up in a
completely.
place where you probably don't want to be.
Yeah, yeah. I think he worked for Haagen-Dazs at one point, and
Right.
he spoke to his
Yeah.
manager,
Oh,
and
that's
he's
what it
like,
was.
"Look, I've been offered this chance to go on tour for 6 months with a band called Black Flag, and I don't know if I should take it or not." And the
Yeah.
manager was like, "Just go. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing here for you, dude. Like,
Right. Right.
it's an ice cream shop."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was good.
I
It's
love
nice
that
to
story. Yeah.
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 Apparently, he gets a lot of letters sent to him saying, "I'm thinking about joining this band, but I want to know what you think." And Henry's always
Interesting.
like, "But if you actually genuinely wanted to do it, you wouldn't write to me. Like, you wouldn't
Yeah.
ask for
Yeah.
my validation." So
That's a
yeah,
great point.
okay. So I'll clip this and try and get Henry to retweet it or something, and then
Yeah. Yeah. That would be very cool. Be
absolutely,
very
let's
cool.
do it. Awesome. So the album, is it currently out, or is it looming? Is it about to drop, or is it
It's
already
about to drop. It comes out October 14th,
nice?
2022, for those who might be
Hmm.
watching later. But yeah, it's coming out mid-October. So we've got just a few weeks away before it all drops. We do have some things that we've pre-released. So Code Rage, the single is out. Cowboy Coding, as you mentioned, is also out as a single.
Yep.
We've got the video on YouTube for Code Rage, and there's kind of a bonus track that is it's weird. I forget if it's going to actually be on the album, but it is another single out. It's called Kerncraft 400, and it's a remix of the old Stadium anthem, if you're familiar with that. I kind of love the story of that song, but
Yeah,
yeah, so that's also out. Yeah.
love that. There we go. Lots to digest, people. Lots of content out there. Your
Yeah.
YouTube video for Code Rage as well, man. It's gone mad.
Yes.
Lots of
Yeah, I can't
views.
believe it. I can't
Yeah.
believe how many views it got.
Mm,
It kind of surprised me.
yeah.
But yeah, it was so much fun to make. I made it with the director Max Schaff, or yeah, I hope I'm getting that right. He is a great director. Because we had a couple of different ideas of what we wanted to do with that video, and one of them was to go into a rage room. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but
Mm,
it's kind of a new concept that
mm.
people are going in, and it's like get your angst out, And we are
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go in there, and he was like, what if we did it outside? Because then you'd have this beautiful contrast of nature and technology, like the constant battle between Mother
Yeah,
Nature and kind of mankind and our technology. And I think it worked out beautiful. And I had so much fun like doing that video. It was just, I love it when you can find stuff that you're just like, this was like so much fun. I don't care like how many,
yeah,
but I was glad that it's been a huge success. Yeah, like
yeah,
so many people have watched that, and it's just
yeah.
crazy.
Quite a shareable video as well because of the length. It's not like
Yeah,
people have to
yeah.
dedicate like 8.5 minutes of their time, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a
love it.
perfect little like check it out.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
I've got some quick fire questions for you. A lot of it is
Okay.
a bit UK centric, and I don't know how well it will
Okay.
travel, but we'll try our best. I'm
Okay.
sure
We'll
there's a
try.
US equivalent of some of the things that I ask.
Okay.
So, have you ever heard of a Kinder Egg?
A Kendrick.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
So I think Brendan mentioned that there's some sort of chocolate egg equivalent in the UK, in the
Oh
US, sorry,
yeah. Oh
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
got a
yeah.
toy inside of it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Kinder Egg? Is that
Yeah,
what it?
Kinder Egg. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I have heard of that. Yeah, it does have a
Okay.
toy. Yep.
So, in your opinion, is a Kinder Egg a rubbish bit of chocolate that you would only buy to get to the toy, or
Right.
is it a deliciously chocolate treat that you would
Yeah,
eat?
I would say it's a toy. For me, it's a toy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. Baby Bell or cheese string or any other cheese product in the US?
Oh, cheese string. for sure.
2 string. Nice.
Yeah.
Would you rather camp in a tent or a static caravan for 1 week?
Oh, a tent for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Living in a city or living in a countryside?
This is a great one. Um, because I'm kind of in between two worlds right now, but I would probably say countryside. Yep.
Nice. We'll get back to that in a minute, your location, because I'm fascinated
Okay.
by Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Chocolate or sweets?
Sweets.
Bath or shower?
Shower. Yep.
Mornings or evenings?
Mornings. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Mint chocolate
Yeah.
chip or chocolate orange flavor?
Oh, oh, mint chocolate chip for sure.
Okay. Favorite animal and favorite animal noise?
Favorite animal is a dolphin.
Okay.
And favorite animal noise has got to be probably cat purr.
Cat purr, nice.
Yeah.
Like that. My girlfriend would appreciate that answer, so
Yeah.
that might actually get her to listen to this. Maybe I don't
Oh,
know.
there you
We'll see.
go.
There you go. Shout out. This is a crazy question. Bear with me.
Sure.
If you were going to prison, Sean,
Yes.
you got paid $10,000 a day to go to prison for 24 hours, which isn't too bad. It's a maximum security prison. I can't guarantee your safety. Anything can happen. Would you be willing to go to prison from any time between 24 hours and 6 months of your life? And you would
Wow.
receive that money directly into your bank account, tax free or cash in hand if you
Wow.
prefer.
Wow. Yeah, that is a tough question.
Yeah.
Uh, can you pull the plug? You said you could
Yeah.
get out whenever you want. Okay,
Whenever
so
you want.
I would at least do it for a day, see how it
Yeah.
goes, and see like see how rough it is in there.
Yeah.
If you could give them the Jedi mind trick, crazy eyes, so people leave you
Nice.
alone or something.
Yeah, man.
Maybe you could hang. Yeah,
Feeling that. I love that.
yeah.
That's all the quick fire questions. Some of them are a bit crazy, so thanks for
I
doing
love it.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Puerto Rico, other
Yes.
than the drastic amount of tax that you don't have to pay,
Yes.
what three things makes you excited about where you live, and would you ever consider moving?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Yeah, I love probably the best thing about Puerto Rico are the people. They're amazing down here. They're very friendly and warm and inviting, and they are festive and they
Mm,
love to have a good time. I
yeah.
don't know if you know, but the pina colada was
Mm.
invented in Puerto Rico. And I was like, wow, anybody who could invent that, they've got to be a fun group of people. So
Yeah,
it was definitely
completely.
part of the draw down here. And of course, aside from the occasional hurricane that we just
Mm.
had
Yeah,
blow
yeah,
through
yeah.
here, the weather is just phenomenal down here. And you can go out and in the middle of January, in the middle of winter, and be in shorts, go hang out at the beach, the water's warm. So that's definitely a huge plus. And probably the natural beauty is the other thing that I'm constantly blown away. I also love exploring the island. There's
Yeah.
so many just breathtaking, stunning things. You go to the rainforest and there's just waterfalls that kind of defy. You're like, you can't even believe you're there. And there's these slides you can go down on some of the waterfalls too that are quite fascinating. So all of those things, I love living down here just because it's this huge adventure that I'm on. I'm trying to learn Spanish as well, so that's
Mm.
like it's like those are the hurdles of like trying to integrate into a place where you're kind of a stranger in a strange land in a lot of ways. Um, because I don't, because there's definitely some cultural things and the language barrier are definitely challenges to overcome. But I think the people down here make it fun to learn the language and to interact with them. And I'm having a ball down here. So I really, it was a great decision for me to make. I knew I wanted to make a change from Austin before I came down here. So I was looking at several different places to go to. And and of course, like you said, the tax incentives like piqued my interest. I
Yeah,
said, well, I gotta at least go down there and try it out and just see if I could see myself living there. Because that's certainly not a reason just to move there
of
just for
course.
taxes,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, of course.
But but once I got down here and I was like, oh, I'm digging this place. I'm digging the
Yeah.
vibe. There's also a vibrant music scene down here.
Okay.
Reggaeton. I don't know if you've ever followed that type of music, but
No.
Despacito is a very, very famous song from
Mm.
from this area. And they're from Puerto Rico. Luis Fonsi was the guy who put out Despacito, and I've been to La Factoria. It's a great, fun place. And it kind of like it. If you watch that video, that's kind of the vibe of Puerto Rico. Like there's a fun, festive feel to everything that they do when it comes to like having a good time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I get a sense of like fiesta, Spain, sort
yeah,
of. Just
yeah.
the word Spain sometimes makes me think of like parties and
Yes.
drinking and sangria and
Right,
how when I
right.
drink sangria everything turns upside down. I don't know why that is.
Right.
But yeah, it's good fun. But
Yeah, absolutely.
the whole culture of Spain of like, you work in the morning, you have a break in the afternoon, and then you do what you
Yes.
want in the evening.
Yes.
Such a
Yes.
massive culture shock if you haven't been to Spain before. So
It is. It is.
fantastic.
And that's kind
Good
of
fun.
down here too. It definitely has that Spanish feel to it.
Yeah.
Uh, they call it island time down here. Like everything moves at a slower pace.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of like adjust to that. If you ever need something done, don't expect it to be done quickly down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why that song Despacito kind of cracks me up too.
Yeah.
They'll speak really fast but do it really slow, you know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love that. So,
Yeah.
is there any other things that you want to promote? Any other shout outs that you want to give? What's looking like the next 6 months for Cowboy Coda?
Yeah, yeah, we've got some. So once the album drops, we've got some other things in the works. I am doing some really cool projects with MC Lars again. But there's this. So the next album that we're going to come out is going to be kind of an abbreviated album. I think it will breach the threshold of an LP. I think there'll be like 7 songs on it. And that's going to be a remix of a lot of like OG computer video games. So I don't know if you would call it chip tune. I know a lot of people use that word, but it's really more like taking some classic computer games like Monty on the Run, which was an old Commodore 64 game,
Mm.
and that composition in there. That's what I love about these old games. It's
Yeah.
like this was a video game, but this musical composition is insane, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to it and it's just crazy. So we're kind of doing like an EDM
Mm.
remix of
Okay.
these types of songs. So I'm hoping it can kind of tap into like um, that genre of like Kerncraft 400. Like I'm hoping we can kind of because everyone loves that song, and that the history of that was it came from an old video game back in the day called Lazy Jones,
Mm.
and so it was an old Commodore 64 game. Yeah.
Nice. You should try and get hold of some of the developers. Make some
Yeah,
music with them.
yeah, no, that would be really cool. I don't know if Ron Hubbard is still around, but that guy made some crazy music back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Might
yeah.
not be applicable, but I've been speaking to the founder of Doom
Really? Very
about
cool.
getting him on John Morero.
Oh, that
So
would be that would be
see if that
awesome.
can come to fruition.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any kind of video game stuff. It's interesting. I was watching on Netflix yesterday. There's a documentary. It's called 7 Days Out, and they
Mm.
had the esports League of Legends. I don't know if you're into that,
Yeah, a little
but
bit. Yeah.
I never knew that there was a whole like community out there that was like dedicated to esports
Yeah.
video game competition. And it was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's like really amazing.
Mm. Someone I interviewed quite recently was a guy from a band called City of Sounds, Jordan. Shout out. And
Yeah.
he's a Pioneers esports org creator, and he
Wow.
plays Rocket League professionally. And
Nice.
his
Nice.
band gets to play the conventions and stuff like that. So I might be able to connect you with him if you want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
that would
about
be
that
cool.
connection. I like to try
Right,
and
right.
keep
Yeah, yeah.
everyone
Try to
spinning around.
right, right. That's a great way
That's what
to
it's all about.
network. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. MC Lars, I'm coming for you. I'm going to be the most network podcaster on the planet, all right?
There you go. There
On
you
the
go.
blockchain planet. There we go. Awesome. That is all I've got, really. So
Okay,
thank you so
great.
much for your time.
Yeah, thank you
Um,
for having me on. This has been great. And I
yeah, man.
appreciate your patience. I know we were scheduled for last week.
Sorry.
I appreciate your flexibility. We had a little
That's all good,
storm
man.
blow through here, so
Yeah, yeah, I heard. Yeah, I thought you'd gone on vacation, but I didn't realize you
yeah.
actually lived in Puerto Rico. So
Yeah, actually live down here. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Just quickly before we go,
Uh-huh.
Luke from Optimus U, who I'm wearing the shirt for,
Oh yeah.
60% off your order if you use the code last chance 60. So that I think is running until the end of September, which is 3 days out. So there we go. You've been warned, people. You've got 72 hours to act.
There you
So
go.
fantastic. And a little announcement before I go for the week is as you probably all know, all of you listening to this, I have a favorite band from the UK called In Me. They're my absolute favorite band of all time, and I've been speaking to the singer Dave, and it looks like it might actually happen. So that'll be in about two
Very cool.
months, providing everything goes smoothly. Obviously, he's going to be on tour, and I'm actually going to go visit him whilst he's on tour, and I am going to fanboy for that entire episode, and it's just going to be such a full circle moment to get him on ABP. So I'm really, really excited for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much, Sean, for
Very
your
cool.
time. And
Yes, thank
I
you,
will be
sir.
watching your career with great interest. And
Thank you very much.
obviously, when this goes out, we'll share it around. And
All
Mr.
right.
MC Lars himself will probably listen to this on repeat because it will give him
Yeah,
that
yeah.
validation that he's
That's right. That's right.
contributing. Fantastic. Cool.
Very cool.
Thank you very much.
All
Cheers,
right.
guys,
Then
and
you
speak
take
to you
care.
soon.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Absolute bedlam.
Shanty Spirit, based in Bournemouth, UK. Dorset Botanical Seaweed Vodka. So I met these at Bournemouth Air Show 2 years ago, and I wanted to get them on the podcast, which I've done in the previous episode, and I wanted to speak to them and promote their products because I think they're onto a winner. So this is vacuum distilled for fresher flavours. Lots and lots of different seaweeds go into this amazing vodka. Doesn't taste like the usual stuff that you get from the supermarkets. It's got a bit of a sort of story to it and a bit more of a twist. It's had some awards, and I'm hooking you guys up. If you go to www.shantyspirit.com and you type in the code Bedlam discount for either 20cl or 70cl bottles, then you'll get 10% off your purchase. Shanty Spirit, drink to enjoy, drink responsibly.
Absolute bedlam.